Coping with Tre Tailor, giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we'll always be coping with something. Coping.
Hey there, good Thursday afternoon. I'm Tre Tailor, and you're watching Coping, giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we will always be coping with something. Today, we're coping with nonprofits and how you can have a successful one. A woman who knows a lot about nonprofits because she has been working with and launching successful nonprofits for over 20 years. Kiwan Fitch joins us to discuss her upcoming nonprofit conference and the Purple Gala that's also going on this weekend. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Tre. Always a pleasure.
Always. We look forward to talking to Kiwan about that and more coming up next on Coping. But first, your community announcements. Multiple schools in South Carolina received what ended up being false threats. No confirmed gunfire or danger was reported yesterday during what ended up being a TikTok challenge. While no physical harm was done, students, school staff, and parents were on edge yesterday as reports came in about potential danger. At least one school is working remotely today due to the threats. Several South Carolina counties are looking for poll workers for the upcoming November 8th election. The position is paid and the deadline to apply is tomorrow, October 7th. Visit scvotes.org for more information. And South Carolina-based designer Sergio Hudson is launching his ready-to-wear line in Target this weekend. The designer, who created looks for First Lady Obama, VP Harris, and countless celebrities, will promote his line at Target stores in Columbia this Sunday. We'll be there live to talk to Sergio Hudson. Congratulations to him. SCDHEC has your most up-to-date list of times, dates, and locations for COVID testing and flu shots, and also COVID vaccines in and around South Carolina. Visit scdhec.gov for more information. Now, scrolling at the bottom of the screen throughout the show, you will see information also on where you can mail in and get those 5 free rapid self-tests that you can see on the screen from covidtest.gov. Also, COVID testing, which is available for veterans at the VE. The several retail outlets in South Carolina and throughout the country who are offering free COVID vaccinations and testings, including Kroger, Walmart, and also CVS, which includes the CVSs that are located in Target stores. You'll also see information about the Comet bus system, where not only you can get a free ride to get your vaccination, but you can also get vaccinations at the COVID a main location at the corner of Sumter and Laurel Streets in Columbia, South Carolina. You'll also see information about the flu vaccines and that are happening in the upstate and also throughout South Carolina, the upstate, and in the Midlands. Prisma is doing a drive-through flu vaccine clinic, and you can see that information there. You'll also see several pieces of information concerning financial services, which includes FEMA. They are still doing COVID reimbursements for anyone who lost a loved one due to COVID. SC Bar Association and SC Legal Services has a toll-free number and website for rental and mortgage help. SC Housing and Dominion Energy has a rental and utilities assistance program, and a Lexington County NAACP and United Way has a housing stability program. You can see that information on the screen and the number to call if you need more information. Now, Food Share has weekly orders for fruits and veggies every Wednesday. You can pick them up at Hyde Park, among other places. And if you or someone you know is having a challenge coping, because we'll always be coping with something, the South Carolina Department of Mental Health has a 24-hour assistance line called SC Hopes. Finally, but last but not least, the South Carolina State Fair starts next week. That's right, the 12th through the 24th. It's to the fair and beyond, and you can get your tickets for 50% off. That's right, you can go to Circle K and also online at the fair and get your tickets to the fair for 50% off. You are watching Coping with Tre Tailor, giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we will always be coping with something. That's what we say here, and that is so very true. Hey, we are streaming live on the Tailor Made Production page on Facebook. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow. Not only will you get notifications as to when we go live Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council, but also on Thursday and Friday. We're also streaming live on our YouTube channel. Please go over there. There you can find 3 years worth of information, resources, and also interviews. We would love for you to do that. We also have a presence on Instagram and also on Twitter. Coming up, we are going to talk with Kiwan Fitch. She has a nonprofit conference coming up, and she's also going to tell us about the Purple Gala that pays tribute to those who survived domestic violence. That and more coming up next on Coping with Tre Tailor. We'll be right back.
Which South Carolina State Fair memory earns your top prize?
One year, I got to ride the swings 3 times. It felt like I was flying into outer space.
The baby ducks waddling to the top of the slide and then splashing down into the water.
The games! Even if I didn't win, someone would help me win a prize.
Once a year, you can surround yourself with memories. And if you're lucky, make even more.
Memories filled with laughter and joy. Find them at the South Carolina State Fair, October 12th through the 23rd.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Hi, I'm Master Deputy Addie Perez with the Richland County Sheriff's Department Community Action Team. As a mother, I know it's important to take care of my health for those I care about. Part of doing that is knowing my risk for developing type 2 diabetes. So if I was you, I'll take the opportunity to visit inittogethersc.org and take an online test to find out if you have prediabetes. Again, the website is inittogethersc.org. This message is brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina.
Hey there, thank you so much for joining us for Coping with Tre Tailor, giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we'll always be coping with something. Hey, don't forget, we are streaming live on the Tailor Made Production page on Facebook. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow. You'll get notifications as to when we go live. Wednesday is Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council, and then again on Thursday and Friday. We're streaming live also on YouTube. On that YouTube channel, you can find 3 years of information, interviews, and resources on whatever you're coping with. We also have a presence on Instagram and also on Twitter. We do have a comment section. If you have a question or comment, we would love to hear from you. And myself or our guests will be glad to answer it for you. Today, we're coping with nonprofits. Kiwan Fitch joins us. She is an entrepreneur, published author, co-author of 8 books. She's a speaker, producer, playwright, coach, mother, mom, wife, and so much more. And she has over 20 years of experience in nonprofit organizations, social services, leadership, business markets, and entrepreneurship. She joins us today to talk about her upcoming nonprofit conference and some other things. Kiwan, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Tre. Absolute pleasure. You know that. I love you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So listen, why was this nonprofit conference important for you to do?
Man, listen, I've been around for a minute, and I've always, I'd start doing something because there's a need for it. And then it's like, oh, you can actually make a business out of this. So I started helping other nonprofits, people wanting to get themselves fundable. And so when that started and people started coming and we've been connecting and so on, there's just so much you can do on a one-on-one basis. And really the conference I wanted it to be almost like a group coaching. Mm-hmm. So as we come together, there's always a kind of a thread of what the main needs are. And the main needs are, we need help with staying in compliance. It's not that we're not doing great work. One of the things that came out of COVID was there were many nonprofits or individuals with businesses who are doing great work, but we don't have our affairs in order, and then we don't qualify for any of the assistance that's out there. So if you didn't have, certain things, you didn't get any PPPs or anything like that. And it goes for nonprofits. We want to do the work. We get into this business because we want to serve people. We want to feed homeless children, or we want to, whatever the reasons are. It's heart work, but there's some other things that have to go along with heart work, you know?
Yeah.
And I wanted to create a space where people won't feel judged, where people will have an opportunity to get their questions answered and really get real concrete good information. There's a lot of bad information out there. People have I love Clubhouse. You can learn a whole lot of different things on different kinds of apps. But if you are in the trenches and you are doing the work, you deserve to have good information, no matter where you're at and what it is that you're doing. And I really just want to create a space for that. And as I started to connect with all different kinds of other nonprofits, I'm finding that, people were coming to me to help them with paperwork and not understanding that South Carolina has two applications for your nonprofit status. People do one and they don't do the other. They think that they're set up, they're legit. I cannot tell you how many people have come to me who are not registered charities.
Wow.
That's a second step. And it doesn't interfere with you getting your 501c3 status. So if they've gotten their 501c3 status, they think that they're set up in the state and they're not completely set up in the state, which means that you're not eligible to be soliciting funds in the state of South Carolina.
Wow.
So they don't know that. And then if you're not on that list and then someone who makes a donation, reports you to the Secretary of State, there's all kinds of different penalties and what have you. And you don't want to be in a situation because you just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's where my heart is. I just want my people to know.
Yeah, that's a lot. That is really a lot that you just shared in your opening statement, because you're right. There are ins and outs, there are intricacies. And I don't know, Kiwan, and you tell me, is there a one-stop place other than your conference that nonprofits can find all this information?
I have not found one locally, so I created it. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And then let me say this too. We don't research and get our own information. When I was, I had an issue with my nonprofit in terms of our tax filing. And when I was working with the Secretary of State to figure out what it was I don't do my own taxes. So whatever the problem was, it wasn't something I did.
Right.
And I'm looking at, wait a minute, I'm going to have to pay you guys how much money because somebody else screwed this up? And in working with them to get the issue resolved, one of the things that I found is that they're open to working with us. You have to ask the questions.
Yeah.
They will help you to figure it out. It is really one of those things. If you want it, it's there. I say go directly to the source. I can give you great information, but because I was able to go right to the source, I can do that. But guess what? For the conference, I'm bringing the source to the conference. And it was so, I won't say so easy, but it was like a no-brainer. Like, okay, so this is my third conference. Who do I need to put in front of my people? And I said, if I can get South Carolina nonprofits to show up, to actually be there in the room where the director of charities is going to be there to say, hey, let me answer your questions. Let me tell you why it's this and not that. I do work for many different people in different states. So every state is different. Every state does not require this second part. Every state, if you do the 990 postcard, so you don't necessarily have to do anything more than show that you filed your taxes. But South Carolina requires more, and you need to understand that. And it's great when you can hire somebody to do that type of stuff for you, but you still need to know what the process is.
Yeah, and I love that you say that. You're right. You may not have the expertise, but you still need to know what's going on, because the buck stops with you. Yes. As the business owner, as the owner of the nonprofit. Kiwan Fitch joins us. She is a CEO of Empowerment Corporation, LLC. It's a company she created to expand her work with women and families in transition. That's just one of the many organizations that she is a member of, because she has launched and worked with over 20 years of nonprofits. We're talking about her nonprofit conference that is coming up, and you can see the information there. Nonprofit Leadership Conference 2022, going on Friday, October 21st. So who is this conference for, Kiwan?
This is for new and aspiring nonprofit leaders. This is for those who have always wanted to do it, didn't feel that they knew enough to do it, wasn't sure. But it's also for those who are newly formed in business, not necessarily clear on their goals, mission, and strategy. But regardless of that, we can figure that stuff out. We want to make sure that you're in compliance. And
Okay.
so my role is to make sure that I am connecting people to who they need to be connected to. Kim Recommend is coming from the Secretary of State office, but the other two ladies, those are good friends of mine. Those ladies are grant writers. Those ladies have been in the trenches for many years working with different nonprofits. Dr. Ward is local. She not only is, there are several nonprofits going after this Richland County funds. They got people all buzzing all over the place. It was all
Yeah.
over the news and everything, right? And so I cannot tell you how many times that she's said to me, I can't wait. There's so many people coming to me who I just feel like needed this conference months ago before they tried to go after this money. And
Yeah.
then I have Janelle. Janelle is actually a friend. When I first started out in nonprofits, she assisted me with doing my articles of incorporation. So she's been around a long time, and she's actually done some political stuff, and she's in North Carolina, and so she'll be down as well. So I brought the A team coming to connect. In the audience will also be some folks. My person who does a lot of my clients 990s, their tax forms and what have you. He's done a lot of them. He lives in DC. He's coming down. I also have another lady that I just connected with who does a lot of work with statistics and helping organizations with getting those numbers and understanding what we need to set up and what systems can we put in place so that we can capture the right information. It's not okay that when it's time to do the grant, we haven't done any capturing of our demographics. You know, my favorite person in the world is Patrick Patterson. Patrick
Oh, yeah.
Patterson is,
Yeah.
I call him my $1 million man. Patrick is wonderful. He spoke at my very first conference, and he really, speaks into nonprofits, and he's great. And if you can afford to work with him, it's great. But one of the things that he does is he makes sure that you have all the right information. Patrick said to me, and I'm going to just brag, he said I was one of his best clients because whatever he needed, I was able to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, and this is something that a lot of our nonprofits are dealing with, which means that when someone is going to help you to write this application and answer these questions, there are things that they're going to need. And if you have to create them, that's going to take time.
Right.
If a grant writer has to create them, that's going to take time. So if you're paying this person however much an hour or whatever it is that you're doing, if they have to create what you should have already put together for your nonprofit, then you're running up a tab.
Yeah.
and there's just so many things that we can do before we start seeking funding.
So, and that's what I was going to ask you, Kiwan. When do you start putting these things together? And I know you're going to go a little bit over this in your conference later on this month. But what are these things that nonprofits need to know that they need to put together? Because obviously, it's more than just having an idea.
Oh my God. I take my new nonprofits through a series of coaching. We do everything from, I need to have from you a minimum of 10 written objectives for your company. What are you hoping to achieve by your services or your program or whatever it is that you're doing? If you can't answer that, then this is my favorite saying. You have to do the work with no money in order for anyone to give you money to do the work.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you're not doing what you said that you do already, then you're not ready to ask anybody to give you money to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we really have to get to the place where we are conscious of that. This is one of my other issues. I love that tragedy leads to some beautiful things. Someone who had a wife or a sister or a daughter who died of breast cancer goes into doing all this great work for breast cancer research and so on. My concern is we cannot let grief lead us to this wonderful heart place,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean we get it all entangled with the Secretary of State and the IRS.
Right, 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 right.
You know, we
Yeah.
have to be mindful that you're creating a corporation. And if you're creating a corporation, there's certainly some things that we have to have in line and in place in order to operate on that level. So understanding what you're getting into is clearly my first step. Clarity of purpose. That's where I start when I'm working with new clients. Clarity of purpose, objectives, vetting out your board, understanding who your roles and responsibilities of that board of directors. I do a whole SWOT analysis with them. Like, I really want you to understand that you're creating a company and there's things that you need to know without, you know, you can't go to the graphic person and create a business card if you don't even have a real understanding of your services that you actually are going to be providing.
Right. I think you said something really key, Kiwan, that you didn't say this, but you did say this. Even though it's a nonprofit, it's a business, and
It's a business.
you got to look at it as a business. As you said, you got to have your SWOT analysis. You got to have your purpose. It's not just a heart thing. It is a real business, especially if you want it to be funded.
Absolutely. And then that's the thing. My goal, you know, I've had a training or a meeting with nonprofits before. I'll never forget. I had an insurance guy. I had attorney James Shad there when I first started doing this years ago. And there might have only been about 5 of us, 5 nonprofits there. And one of them, the girl was like, yeah, no, not a nonprofit. I'll be an LLC. This is a little too much. And I was so grateful because that was the point. Understand what you're getting into. And if this is not for you, if this is not something that, you know, you want to go down that road, there are so many companies nonprofits who are doing that work.
Right.
You know, if this is your area, domestic violence, breast cancer, homeless children, there's so many people that are doing these different things. Partner with them. Do something in honor of someone. Come and feed those children. You don't need a nonprofit to be able to feed hungry kids.
Yeah.
You know, so this is the goal, is that we want to break away from I have to have my own in order to do what God has called me to do.
Right. Yeah. Because as you said, there are probably 10 other people, if not more, that are doing similar work that you may be able to either work with or collaborate with.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. My role, and I believe that God has commissioned me for, is to make sure that you are in line, not just in terms of compliance, but you are in line with what he's called for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I don't feel comfortable putting a stamp on an organization that, you know, came to me to help them to start and they're not really ready.
Yeah.
You know, let's do the work. Let's network. Let's figure out your groove before you start asking people to support what you're not sure about.
Kiwan Fitch joins us. She is talking about her upcoming nonprofit workshop, which is October 21st. She launched the Journey Towards Purpose program, which offers live and virtual personal development courses, plus individual and group coaching in the area of business, nonprofits, organizational leadership, and business and corporation. The Institute also certified over 50 purpose coaches in over 10 states. We just saw the information about the nonprofit conference.
And today is National Coaches Day. I didn't even know.
Wow.
I didn't know, right? I saw one of my coaches, she posted, and I was like, oh my goodness. Yes. And tomorrow is our City of Columbia. We did my event is called the Coaches Conclave, where I pull all my coaches together. And so we tomorrow is our City Coaches Conclave Day. So
awesome.
This is an amazing time that we're in. And I love being able to celebrate the ones behind the scenes doing the work.
Right. Well, congratulations. Listen, I want to find out before you leave, what do people need to bring to the conference on the 21st?
A pen and a paper. Okay. Even though I'm going to have that, I really just need you to think about who needs to be in the room. Definitely founders, definitely board members. If there are a representative of the, found of the group or whatever, that would be fine. But if you are a solo operation, you definitely need to be there. If you only have one or two people that's working your organization, please, one or two people need to be in the room. Don't feel that, and it will be virtual. So I know that there are people, I did it on a Friday. So people who are still working full time and that kind of thing. Everyone who attends will be able to get the recording of the day, so that they can go back and watch it as well. I don't want people getting so caught up in the work that they forget about the other work that needs to be done.
Right.
So make sure that your team is there. Come open and willing to learn. You don't know everything. I certainly don't. I learned something from one of my clients, even about our EINs, that we get from the IRS. So just recently. So we really have to be open to learning. If you've never done this before, if you're not coming from, say you've worked, I've worked nonprofits for a gazillion years before I started one. So if you've never worked for a nonprofit, if you've never, this is not your area, but you just have a heart to do this work, you need to be in the room.
Yeah. All right. And so the conference, once again, is October 21st. You can see the information there, 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. in
Yes.
Columbia, South Carolina. If people want more information, you can see that information on the screen. You can sign up, as Kiwan said, to get all of the information you need in order to run and launch a successful nonprofit. Kiwan has over 20 years of experience in doing just that, launching and running successful nonprofits. She also serves on the advisory board as co-chair for Real Sisters Rising, which serves women entrepreneurs, and is president of the South Carolina chapter. She also works with the board on 2 other nonprofit organizations that serve women and families. Listen, I know that you guys, you have a big weekend. You and Tina Torres also have a big weekend coming up. Your Purple Gala is this weekend. Before you leave, I want to talk about that, because that's always such a beautiful event to pay tribute to and celebrate the men and women who are survivors of domestic violence. Tell us about that.
Thank you so much, Trey. The Purple Gala, this is the 7th year. For me and Tina, we talk about it all the time, how it feels like just yesterday. We were sitting in IHOP on Assembly Street, and started to plan this process, and 7 years ago, and we're still going strong. It's still a sold out event. Purple is the color of bruises. No matter what color your skin is, a bruise will show up in that purple in some form or another. And I am so proud and excited that Tina has carried this torch all these years and has created a premier event for the city of Columbia and beyond. We have people that travel to come to be a part of it, and it's really exciting. This year, our keynote is Cintoya Brown Long. Cintoya, she's just a beautiful young woman, and her story is just so tragic, that she was sentenced for murder at 16, I believe, 16 years old. And she killed someone, and she was actually being sex trafficked. So it's in recent years, because of the light that we have shown on sex trafficking, what happened to her would not have happened now, I would hope. So she is going to talk about her story, and some people, if you don't know who she is, please Google it and go and watch the Lifetime movie that was actually done about her. Hey, Tori, done about her, which was really, really good. But and she, just hearing that young lady's story, I am so looking forward to meeting her and just soaking up some of her energy, in her tenacity. And when people do you wrong, you can, lick your wounds and kind of go and scamper away and really just stay out the spotlight. She did not go into this to be a national speaker. She did not go into this to be where she is now. But for her to be able to share her story and for us to be able to bring her here to share her story, it's an honor for us to be a part of it, and I'm excited to meet her. I'm excited for so many of 200 plus people from Columbia will be in the room to meet her as well. So really, really exciting. We're going to be in West Columbia at the the Phillips Market, right out there near the state fairground, state farmers market.
Farmers market.
Farmers market. And we're just excited. This is hard work.
Yeah.
The goal with the Purple Gala always was to give an opportunity and a space, for the glamour of a gala, specifically around celebrating those who've overcome. Abuse is really ugly. So what better way to celebrate survivors than to get dressed up and get, what in our eyes of what is beautiful. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be a great event. We have a few surprises, so I'm looking forward to that as this weekend. It's a lot going on, and we got women's empowerment. We got a lot going on in Columbia.
Yeah, it's a lot going on, but that's a good thing. That's the good
thing. It's wonderful. It is wonderful. I always get excited. October is busy because of just that, and it's great work. So I'm excited for that.
So it's this Saturday night, and can people still support or attend, or is it sold out?
It is sold out. We did have a few sponsor tickets. I don't know if any of those are still available. I know that Tina had put that out. So reach out, because if you believe God pushed you to be in the room, I had another seat at my table that in one of my new nonprofits, and actually she's on my advisory board now for Hannah House. She was able to get one of those tickets. So just reach out. You never know, because if someone bought tickets, they might reach out to Tina and say, hey, we can't come, or something like that. And so there's a sponsored ticket available. So definitely, you never know. So definitely check and see. And they were on Eventbrite.
Okay. So that should people check Eventbrite for more?
Check Eventbrite, reach out to Tina. I am not involved in that in any kind of way, shape, or form. Don't tell her Kiwan sent you.
Okay. All right.
But definitely, there's nothing wrong with asking. Definitely ask. You can find the Purple Gala. There's a event on Facebook. Definitely ask. And if there's anything available, she'll definitely let you know.
And if there's not, people can still support the many organizations that advocate for survivors of domestic.
Absolutely, because it should be about the work.
Right.
It should be about making sure that people have safe places to go, safe places to vent and to share. People who are in that traumatic situation, it takes them a long time to leave. Yeah. So we need to be able to have those conversations and have safe places to talk about that stuff. So
absolutely. And if people want more information on that, they can contact you, Kiwan, because you know a lot about what's going on. Or if they are familiar with Tina Torres on social media, they can definitely reach out to Tina. And then don't forget and that's all month, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So please do something towards to support the survivors and those who are going through domestic violence this month, especially. And then, of course, Kiwan's nonprofit workshop is going on October 21st. So please register for that also.
Absolutely. That event is on Eventbrite as well.
Okay, great. You can log on to Eventbrite and find out more about the Nonprofit Leadership Conference 2022, October 21st here in Columbia, South Carolina. Kiwan, thank you so much for all that you're doing and for coming on today and giving us all of this great information. We appreciate
Absolutely. You. Anytime for you, Trey. Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to say hi to Barbara Belton, also to Tori Stocker. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please post and share so we can get this information to the masses. Listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope, please email booking@copingwithtretailer.com. That information should be scrolling at the bottom of the screen. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope, please email copingwithtretailer@gmail.com. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council. Also, the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office, Attorney Byron Gibson, Javis Financial Services, the Comet Bus System, Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, Black Pages, Black Expo, Agape Counseling and Training Services, and of course, the South Carolina State Fair going on the 12th through the 24th. We'll be there broadcasting live, not only on the opening day, which is next Wednesday, the 12th, but also Friday for Diabetes Day at the State Fair. We talked about that yesterday on the show. Please, if you missed it, please check that out. Hey, coming up tomorrow, should Christians listen to gospel music? We'll find out what some people in the industry think. Regina Skeeters, Tiffany J, Jamal Bates, who is a pastor and radio host, and Algeron Wright, among others, joins us tomorrow for this interesting and I know sometimes controversial conversation. That's coming up tomorrow on Coping with Tre Tailor. As usual, we leave you with a reading. We've been reading Jesus Calling. Today is October 6th. And today, Jesus says to us, be willing to follow wherever I lead. Follow me wholeheartedly with glad anticipation, quickening your pace. Though you don't know what lies ahead, I know, and that's enough. Some of my richest blessings are just around the corner, out of your sight, but nonetheless very real. To receive these gifts, you must walk by faith, not by sight. This doesn't mean closing your eyes to what's all around you. It means subordinating the visible world to the invisible shepherd in your soul. I will eventually lead you down the mountain back into community with others. Let my light continue to shine within you as you walk among the people. That's your Jesus Calling for today, our devotion for the day. Thank you all so much for joining us on another episode of Coping with Tre Tailor. Until the next time, we wish you peace and abundant blessings. Take care. God bless. Stay well. And please, if you are going to be in an enclosed area with a lot of people, you still need to wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. We'll see you tomorrow.
Coping. Find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping. Learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping. Finding out what's real. Coping. We can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress. Coping with strife. Bringing hope for success. For improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive. Ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting learning what you can do. 6 ways to a better you. Coping. Find peace of mind to survive